And away we go. So first of all, I would like to, Stephen's already pointed out already that I would like to thank Cyclone, and I would like to thank Hewlett-Packard as well. The support that they have given us so far has been amazing, and without the likes of companies of that caliber, a lot of what I'm trying to achieve and the school is trying to achieve couldn't be done as simply as we wanted to. So I'd like to acknowledge you. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Thanks for all your support. And they will both be around to speak to anyone who would like to talk with them a little bit later on tonight. I'd also like to thank Edward, who isn't live with us right now, but as Stephen said, he's a pretty big deal in Google and education. This guy's part of a team that really are making waves. So luckily enough that I managed to establish, and Sunil as well, from our past experiences, we managed to establish a really strong relationship with him. So he's giving us a lot of support, and obviously we wish to continue that as time goes on. So a lot of what I'm going to deal with tonight is around Google Apps for Education, and it is around that Chrome environment as well. There are 4 things I would like to talk with you about tonight. The first is the framework and the policies in which we are hoping to use and integrate into our school. The second is the software that most of you coming from feeder schools now know all about. Google Apps for Education. You understand what the software does. It's something that's not new anymore. But I will highlight a few of the ways in which we're hoping to use that to evolve into this 21st century learning environment. I'm going to talk a little bit about hardware and how that all comes together through the coordination, which is probably one of the most important things if you ask me. So how are we going to bring it all together and make change? The UNESCO's competency standards for teachers. Has anyone raise your hand if you've heard of this before? I'd love to know. Fantastic, great, because a lot of people have not. And the reason, just quickly, there's the e-learning planning framework, which is New Zealand's version of this. If you look at the likes of the United States, they've got the NETS A, and Australia would have their own, and so on and so forth. The UNESCO's CSTs are a global policy and framework. It looks at the bigger picture, which is exactly why I've grasped it. This is something I'm really strong, I'm enthusiastic about integrating into our school. It looks at the student that evolves into the citizen. So it takes something that we can make change in learning, and we can make that change, therefore, evolve into the workforce as well. And I'll explain a little bit more about that. It's broken down into 3 stages. The first, which is technology literacy. Technology literacy, quite simply, is what skills as a student and as a teacher, because bear in mind this is for teacher and student, what skills do I need in order to make a difference in this ever-evolving, this very fast-paced world that we live in? What skills, not only with technology, but through collaboration and problem solving, what skills do I need in order to make that difference? How can I make a change for the better? So it gives us a series of policies and frameworks that aim to integrate that into our curriculum, into our school, and tick a few boxes, and before you know it, we're evolving into the knowledge deepening stage. So I've got the skills, I know how to use my computer, I know what cyber safety, I know how to effectively leave a positive digital footprint. Now I'm moving into the knowledge deepening phase. How can I have rich experiences with my technology and the content I'm accessing online? How can I do it in a way that gives me, say something like a surface feature learning outcome would? And how can I take that learning that's rich and it's deep, and how can I take that learning and how can I apply it to currently what issues and what problems and what are the situations we have in our world today, in our country today, and how can I align those together to make real change? And that takes us to the knowledge creation stage. And bear in mind, everything that I'm talking about here simply doesn't end at the 4 walls of a school. It evolves into a system in which I can go into the workforce and I can apply these skills as well. So I then move into the knowledge creation stage. Great. I use data. I use statistics. I use that rich learning that I had through the knowledge deepening stage, and I apply it to make real change for the better, to make things easier if they're difficult. So what I'm trying to say is it's bigger than just New Zealand. It's bigger than just a series of students in a school. It's global. It's globalization. As we all know, New Zealand's opened its doors up to this way of life, really, I suppose. And this really caters for that. Why would you not have something that caters for that need? So that's something I've really grasped with two hands, and I've really pushed in the school, and obviously it's something that I'm going to integrate within that curriculum and that technology integration as well. And of course, with my little pictures here, you'll see that all this flow-on effect comes down to the students. So we're developing students who are going to give back through education reform, social development. We can increase equality, all those big words. We can actually make a change. And I believe that with these right skills, that the students can do that. And if we educate them in the right ways, look, these are the future of our country. Sounds big, it is big, but I think it's the right way forward. And I am enthusiastic and I am confident that it's going to work as well, which is the most important thing. Currently, and I wish far more people were here to see this, but currently we are a bring your own device school. You know what? It doesn't feel like bring your own device sometimes. It feels like bring your own distraction. Some have even labelled it bring your own disaster. It becomes very difficult for a teacher, and this is something empirically I can speak of because I've been in the classroom a long time. Technology into something I'm heavily involved in and I know a lot about through study, through research, through theory. It becomes very difficult for a teacher to teach when you have a range, a plethora of different devices that do different things. Yes, some of them might get to the same goal, but they don't all do it in the same way. One device that does one thing, another device might not do that particular thing or that task. It becomes very difficult to navigate through those problems. And it becomes the teacher's problem, which is the problem. So therefore, that teaching and learning that should be happening in the classroom is now becoming a troubleshooting, a supporting issue for that teacher to solve. And that flow-on effect is now it's the student's problem as well. And you get two outcomes. The teacher pushes it to the side and says, I don't want to deal with that anymore. Don't worry about it, open up your books, we'll go back to how it was. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. But when you've got students who are fully engaged and are using these devices and connected to this World Wide Web on a regular basis, I think you need to evolve with the times. And so I don't think that approach is the best approach. Or you've got the other teacher who'll say, okay, I'll work with this. I'll try and solve these problems here and now. But before you know it, 45 minutes has been and the learning that's been going on has not really happened. So it becomes a real problem. So we are looking for ubiquitous technology integration over the whole school. And we think we've found that. We think the Google Chromebook is the device that is going to do that for us. We are a Google school. 95% of the software interactions we have are Google Apps for Education based. We use third-party applications, of course we do, but this is the Chrome software that we use. And the Chromebook obviously works in that Chrome environment seamlessly. So that is probably one of the biggest pushes and why we're pushing the Chromebook. You can look at things like boot up time. From closing to opening to startup, you're looking at seconds. I've got students in my class with laptops. Not only forget about updates, simply starting them up can take minutes. Then you add on some updates and then you've got minutes upon minutes. It becomes a real problem. Firmware, which is something that I'm not sure if many of you know about firmware, but essentially I had a good friend who said it was like firmware was like a fine wine, gets better with age. So essentially these devices should do that. With upgrades in that firmware, that device, this Chromebook that you have, should actually get quicker over time. There's not much hardware happening in the likes of a Chromebook compared to a laptop like this. Battery time. On a full charge, I can easily work through a full day's work on one battery charge. Simply. Seen it time and time again. These next 3 points are very exclusive to the HP product. And it might sound like a sales pitch, but I approached HP. I actually approached them. I didn't get them to come to us. I went to them because I think their product is the best product out there. There was a school I was working with in Victoria, and they do a Lenovo Chromebook. And the reason they do that is because they think that's the best product for their students, for their environment, from what they've seen. They think that's the best product. I think the HP is the best product, the Chromebook. There's a reason why as well. There's actually 3 reasons why. Well, 2. One's on the peripherals a little bit. It's durable, it's strong. I very rarely see a Google HP Chromebook getting fixed. Very rarely. No problems with hinges, no exterior problems. Very rarely, if they're managed how they should be as a learning tool. The 3-year warranty is the big one. This is something I really encourage and I really pushed for. We want a system that means if your child breaks a device or has an issue with the device, it doesn't go home and go back to the parent who then has to take care of that. Once again, empirically, I see devices going home for weeks. I've just had a student in my class lose their device. They won't be getting it back for the rest of the year. Cracked screen. You know, that's their learning on hold. What we're proposing here is a 3-year warranty, whereas if the device has a problem, it comes to the school brings up HP on a 3 to 5 day working plan, turn that device over, get it fixed, get it sorted, get it sent back. A loan device is given to that student goes back, continues their learning. All covered under the warranty. Hence why some people have said, look, the price you've given us on this portal is a little bit steeper. Well, that's the reason why. It doesn't become your problem, it becomes our problem. And the last thing is the Google Chrome Management Console. This is something that can run on any Chromebook, but it can only be delivered through Cyclone. And our relationship with Cyclone and the purchasing portal is the reason why that price has possibly jumped up by $50. That's why. And so what the Chrome Management Console does is it gives the teacher greater control over that particular device. It allows teachers to understand what each device is doing. It allows us to push particular web pages out or content out onto those Chromebooks. It allows us to find applications within the Chrome store and push those out to students, whatever subject it might apply to. And that allows us to engage in a blended learning teaching environment. Blended learning is the way forward. It's absolutely the way forward. Blended learning is a combination of both online learning and face-to-face learning as well. Thousands of years people have been teaching other people and it's worked just fine. Some of that were those who would stand up and deliver content because they knew what they were talking about. Of course they did. It wasn't left up to a device to tell us. Those teachers knew what they were talking about. Therefore, why would you take that away from them? But with technology integration as well, they can reinforce teaching points. They can deliver content in a different way, but still through talking and discussion, collaboration, group, peer, whole school. This is the way forward. Stamp my reputation on it. It's the teaching way forward. Research totally indicates it's going that way, and I totally stand for that. I believe it is. So it brings me to my last point. How are we going to bring all this together? This is not going to happen in 6 months. It's not going to happen in a year. It's going to take time. But at the moment, as we speak, I've got 2 websites up there. The first of which, the top one, is my personal classroom website. And that shows you coordinated learning in action. I really do encourage you all to have a look at that website and see how a classroom that uses a blended learning situation would work, would evolve. Totally accessible, all online, but it still involves that teacher discussion, that teacher talk, that collaborative working together, peers, groups, etc. We're going to start connecting staff sites, department sites, and that bottom website is the site that's going to do that. So a teacher in one area of the school with a classroom website or a department website will have access to another teacher's. And you would think, hey, well, surely that should be going on right now. Well, it's not, and it's going to start happening. But how am I going to use teachers' websites in other parts of the school? How can I effectively use those? There's no point accessing something if I'm not going to ever use it. So if we all work together, which is what the Year 17 and eventually the Year 8s and so forth and so on are attempting to do, we are going to coordinate everything. Think of it like a big spider web of websites. Autonomy, self-paced learning. Students working at their own pace. Working in their own time, asking questions when they need to ask. But then coming back for discussion, for collaboration, for peer-to-peer. Aesthetics, it's called classic aesthetics. It's the ease of navigation. We can all create a site, I can guarantee you, you give me 2 hours with you, at least we could make a starting step on creating a website. But can you make it so it's easy to navigate through? Can you make it so that I can put it in front of 30 students and they can all understand where they have to go and how they have to get there? It's really important. That's something I've looked heavily into. Inter-class, inter-school discussion. Forget about inter-school. Let's make it global. Currently, Google Connected Classrooms is on its way and it's evolving and it's growing bigger. I can have a lesson with someone in a totally different country. It might be a teaching point. He might be speaking on a particular subject that some of my students, not all, might be some of my students want to engage in. They can do so. Obviously, if it fits in with what things we're doing and your curiosity, so forth and so on. It's all happening now. And it's once again, it's like a big spider web. It's all connected. Google Connected Classrooms. And then there's the staff and student online training. All the research points to staff PD, staff support. You're a staff member. This is all fantastic when you place all these devices in front of me. If I don't know how to use it, if I don't know what to do with it, take it away. Give me a book. So staff PD is going to be something that we're really going to push forward. And as an example, one of those, one area I'm going to focus on is the Google Apps training. And there's a company in Toronto, and the chap's name who created this company is Varun. It's called Synergize. You can look it up. And what they've done is they've created a software that is completely interactive. It allows teachers to follow a series of steps in order to achieve particular goals. And it works its way right through the software. It's good for not only staff, but it's good for students as well. So we want a series of support and training. And that's just one example. That's just one example. That's not it. That's not all we're doing. That's one example of how we're going to get staff into the position where they feel comfortable using devices and teaching in a blended learning situation and connecting everything together. And that's the change we're trying to make. And that's the change that's going to happen. It's going to happen. This is when Ed was going to come with his part. But maybe we could go into some questions and answers if you have any. If I didn't bring out anything. Yeah. Okay. I'll just talk to the people at home as well. The question was, I could actually give you the microphone. The question was, what's the difference between a Chromebook and a laptop? Quite simply, it's the hardware in a laptop. A laptop generally is more heavy duty. A Chromebook works with the internet, works with the Chrome browser. There's very little going on in a Chromebook. It relies heavily on Web 2.0 technologies. It engages with the internet, essentially. A laptop's more heavy duty. A Chromebook doesn't download software onto it. A laptop does. Hence one of the reasons laptops get slower is because they've got so much going on. And when you download things over time, obviously that affects the likes of your processing speeds and your RAMs and so forth and so on. Well, a Chromebook doesn't have to deal with those issues because it doesn't download software. It's an internet-based tool. That's essentially the difference, the big difference, without getting into huge detail. Yeah. Katie. Fantastic question. The question was, are we going to allow students to bring in other devices as well? Yes, we absolutely. I have been smacked on the hand by the ministry because I'm not allowed to tell people what they are allowed to and not allowed to bring in. We will absolutely fully support whatever students bring in. Of course we will. But hopefully with what I've put forward, you'll understand that, if we want to do this and do it effectively, we need your support. Can't just drive, Maybe you could bring in, absolutely, that would make total sense, yeah, definitely. But we really do. It relies heavily on your support to make this happen. I mean, I can stand up here and talk as much as I want, but ultimately it's us working together that's going to make this change.
I'm amazed it's not been asked you. What's the difference between the price of a laptop and a Chromebook?
What's the difference between the price of a laptop and a Chromebook? I mean, Cyclone, Hewlett Packard, these guys would probably answer that better than I could. Would you?
The difference between a Chromebook and a laptop price is probably about a third, if not more. Because a Chromebook is a lighter version of a laptop, because they have hard drive and they have options, plus they have all those extras that are inside the laptop. So the price comparison is very light, and the idea is we do so many of the week to tools that it's easier and easier to be able to have this smaller, cheaper, faster process of running with a device at a price that appears in the tool, so that we can get to that one-to-one. That's the sort of magic number. One device to one student to be able to get through this new learning, this new way of learning.
Cool. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I have some questions.
Any other questions?
Yeah. So you say that there's no upgrade. So I guess all the personnel that are saying you have somewhere. What is the cost of this? Because I guess it's free for few giga, and then you have to pay for.
So the cost of
The data. So you can say a lot of that.
zero, cost nothing, it's unlimited. Cost nothing.
It's Google's promise to education.
Yeah.
That's where they started.
Yeah.
They started in universities. Their promise to education is to deliver Google apps for education at no cost to schools. Apart from zero cost and stuff, there's no cost for the users. And then when they leave the education domain, they can take all their data and all their information and create with them to their next domain or to their own Gmail account, which is, as you might know, free to set up as well. And Google's introducing an unlimited drive space for students. Effectively, they can put whatever as much as they want in their Google Drive. So,
So if we have a Chromebook at home, what's it going to cost us to transfer to Albany Junior?
Sorry, if you have
We've
a,
got a Chromebook.
yeah.
What's it going to cost us to bring it through to?
So essentially nothing if you were to bring the Chromebook by itself. The only cost that we would strongly recommend is you purchase the Google Chrome Management Console, and that is done through the Cyclone portal. And that was what I was talking about before. It gives the teacher greater control over those Chromebooks. No matter how amazing the content is, students like to sway away from what they're doing and go off and engage in other areas. Well, this gives us a little more control. It sounds a bit Big Brother-ish, and I guess it kind of is. But if you do it in a positive way, you spin it positively. But you're doing it for obviously the benefit of that child, that student. I think it's an extremely effective way forward. And Google are creating it, therefore it's going to be useful in some way, shape, or form. They tend to make things that are pretty useful to others. So yeah, that would be the only cost. Yeah.
Say about being disruption, what about the likes of Minecraft and Facebook and YouTube and all that sort of stuff? Do these machines restrict the use of those sort of things during the day?
Well, you could, but we don't really encourage that. I think through education and through support and that teaching and learning that goes on, I think personally, I think it's very easy to get students online, to keep them focused on what they need to do. I don't have a huge trouble with that, and I would never be in full support of getting rid of this and getting rid of that. There's certain things, of course, you would say, look, we can't have that. But I think it's more the education that's involved, and that's something that this system is going to really help not only students but the teachers understand as well. How do we go about getting students thinking that way? It's all around us, this stuff. It's everywhere. We've got to learn how to use it responsibly and engage in it in proper ways. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah.
Can you use the device offline? But you don't have to
No, you can access information offline. There's a lot of content through the Google Suite that you can definitely make offline. Yeah, absolutely. Totally. I do a lot of my documents and presentations offline. I just make them available offline, edit them, and as soon as I get an internet connection, it streams itself back up, goes back up to the cloud, aka servers in other countries. Correct. Yes. Well, it's got temporary storage on the device. All devices do. They need some form of temporary storage. Well, then it takes itself back up offline. It's still classed as an offline document, so you would need to go back and either get rid of that or make it an online document for it to get off your system. But essentially, you can only have an offline document. Correct. Yes. Yes. Oh, actually, no. I could be wrong on that. Can you have? Can you create a document offline and then have it stream back up?
Yeah.
You can.
If you set your Chrome browser to allow you to work offline with Google Docs,
Yeah. I've never done it. Yeah. I've never done it, but good question.
People are never offline.
Yeah, likewise.
And that's sort of where it's going. It's mostly, you're always online. Except for the odd time you might be sitting on the bus, but you can't actually get on the bus.
It might be, yeah.
So the medical suite will be software will be supported by the school.
Yeah, it'll be controlled by the school. So this. Sorry, say that again. Well, we, as part of Google, own YouTube. So when you have a school system, a school domain that has Google Apps for Education running over school-wide, you get a YouTube account. We encourage students to use YouTube all the time. Under the school domain, of course, I mean, a lot of my content that is created is done in video form. And it encourages students to be those prosumers, to produce their own content rather than just be passive receivers of content as well. So the suite comes with a YouTube account. So there'd be no real reason for them to create their own YouTube account. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Is that what you're asking me? Yeah. Yeah. You can still create your own separate one if you wish, but under the school domain, you would use the school YouTube account. Yeah.
Use these in a particular digital technology classroom where they can learn about everything digital.
Yep.
They use these in every classroom, like in English, maths, and science.
Fantastic. You actually just took away some of the content I was going to talk about after this. Yeah, cool. So the plan is to, a timeline has been set out. It gives us a sort of a 1 to 5 year plan. And the starting stages of 2015, we're going to try and develop 3 Google-powered digital classrooms that run entirely on Chromebooks, if we can get that happening, through the Chrome Management Console. And that will evolve into then being all year 7. Bear in mind, this is a blended learning teaching approach. It's not just everything's done on a computer. It's still engaging with the teacher. And then at the end of that 1 year, we're hoping to have all year 7s running through this system. They might not all have Chromebooks. So therefore, we won't use the Chrome Management Console in all these classes. And we understand that, and that's just the way it works. But we still hope to engage at least laptops. We want to sway away from your phones. We want to sway away from the iPads because they aren't an effective learning tool for what we want at this school. Great for video. I do my banking on mine. They're perfect. They're awesome searching, surfing devices. But in terms of engaging with the software, Google Apps for Education, it's not what we need. It gives you a watered down browser. So your experience is far different than, say, a laptop's is. Back to what I was saying, the plan is then the next year after is to bring in trial classes of the year 8s and then evolve it into all year 8s. So we'd have a system of all year 7s, all year 8s with devices that you know can work within that classroom teaching environment, and that would evolve into year 9s and 10s. Now that's a little bit different because they do things quite different than what the likes of the year 7s and 8s do. So, I mean, we still have computer labs for digital technology classrooms, for Digitech classrooms, sorry, and you would still need Windows devices, heavy duty hardware, you know, big computers to deal with what those subjects have to deal with. But it will evolve and it will change over time, but it's pretty staunch, it's pretty set in place at the stage of getting the year 7s and the year 8s up and running. Yeah. So, well, how the Chrome browser works is it saves all your data. If you sign in, so these students will be signing into that particular, into their account. So, for example, all your browsing data, all your links, all the things that you've been doing. I mean, I can go from this device here, I can go home and sign into another one and everything's there. Everything I was doing was there. Every piece of history was there, every link, every saved password, if I've got saved passwords, it's all there. So you're just, it doesn't matter what device you have. Yeah. Yeah, so the Chrome Management Console, yeah, sorry, I didn't answer your question quite right. So the Chrome Management Console would allow, for example, if I need YouTube to be open for this particular task and I need, you know, the BBC website to be open for this particular task, and I need, obviously, you know, my Google Apps suite to be open, I could allocate those particular pages to be open. And if they try to get onto anything else, I can stop them from doing so. However, I mean, Mary and Sunil, they're Cyclone, so they deal with the Chrome Management Console far more than I do. Does that sounds about, is there anything you want to add to that? In terms of controlling what students can and can't go on through the Chrome Management Console if you were a teacher?
Yeah, so that would be, you can set obviously certain sites through your cyber open, block them out, certain sites, control what they come through. You can't overly in the Chrome Management Console to determine individual sites necessarily, but we'll double check that. But Para, yeah.
Google Classroom will give you more control as well around the point for teaching, for that kind of, but Para is...
Yeah, the Para teacher dashboard, which is something that we, discussions around is, you get us a teacher a lot of overview of what students are doing.
And that's what you're asking, is how does the teacher know what Johnny has been looking at?
Johnny.
That idea, that is a capability, but it's sort of not a piece of software. But to start with, Chrome Management will help with configuration, and Chrome and Google Classroom will give the teacher a reasonable overview, and also checking on the history. That tells us exactly what
I guess a lot of the discussion is around, is it a matter of policing or a matter of educating the students around what digital citizenship should look like and what it means to be a responsible digital citizen? Because at the end of the day, students, if they want to, they can get access to anything. If they have a 4G enabled mobile device, then they can get access to that. Their friend has one and shares their internet with them, they can log on via that, and that goes around the firewall. So it's a matter of educating students around what responsible citizenship looks like in a digital environment, just like it does in a physical school environment. And once they get that underway, then it shifts that relationship between the student and the teacher. I personally wouldn't want students to think that I'm constantly policing and monitoring their online activities. I want to think that they know how to behave maturely when online, and hopefully not make mistakes. And in my experience, and in our experience, very rarely do we have a student who does anything that you would
puts himself in jeopardy. Yeah. Totally, and that's all part of the technology literacy stage that I was talking about before. So that all comes into that, and yeah, I totally agree.
You don't want to teach
Totally agree. No.
and watching what they're doing and not necessarily being able to interact. And
Absolutely.
learn.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the real value in the discussions when you're working with them directly. That human side of learning is the face-to-face interaction as well.
Thanks, Janine. Yeah. Just the Chromebooks. Yeah, just the Chromebooks. We're all questioned out. No, one more question. Yeah, go ahead.
Will you be teaching the children how to physically use one of these things as opposed to most kids can access a website and search? To actually teach them how to use the device.
So that all comes back, yeah, absolutely, and that all comes back to that technology literacy stage that I was talking about, the first part of that presentation. Understanding how do I use this particular tool, and how do I use it effectively in order to not only, engage in my learning environment, but the working environment that I'm going to evolve into as well. So most definitely, absolutely. The amount of conversations I've had with parents who say, look, I don't know how to do half of this stuff, therefore I can't keep up to date with, or I can't keep on top of what my student, or what my child is doing. If I had $1 for every time, probably about $20. Fantastic. Look, that pretty much Cyclone.
We're really keen when you guys have a browse, come on down and get hands on the device.
Yeah.
We can show you what some of these things that you've got, like in terms of using Google Apps and the Chrome operating system.
Does Mary want to? Do you want to get up and have a wee word, or would you rather just interact there? She's created a speech and everything.
Right. God. Are you going to can you make it live and then I can show
It is
them?
live right now.
No, but I mean, put me onto the web.
Oh yes, of course.
And then I can take them through it. Basically, we are partnering here with Albany Junior, and what our part is, we've had a long relationship with schools. Most of us are ex-educators, so we understand about schools and what the needs are. And what we're supplying is a parent portal, a place where you can just go, order these devices, and what's inside this portal is everything that the school have asked us. So it's not, and when people look at the price, they go, oh, that's so expensive. It's not really, because what the school have asked us to give you is not only a Chromebook, it's a 3-year warranty. It's a 3-year insurance to cover breakage and theft. It's the Chrome management. It's a hard-sided case that the kids get to put everything in, they put the Chromebook inside of it. It's got good hard edges. And on top of all of that, at the end of it, you've also got the Albany Junior configuration and setup, so that you'll order through the portal, all the devices will come to where I work. Our guys will set and configure all these devices so that when your students get them on first day, they open the box up, they log in, and everything's there for them. All the apps are there for them, the Wi-Fi is there for them, everything that's necessary to let them start is there ready to go. And that is what we're saying is 15th of December is the last day that you can order via our portal, and then we receive them and we will get them all ready, and then on the 15th of January will be the day you'll come in somewhere in the school to be arranged and pick them up. And when you take them that night, your kids will be able to log straight in and be able to work with them. Yep. Okay, so what I'm going to very quickly do is show you what the portal looks like. So if you come back up, this is where you come into, and it's on this little thing here. It just tells you where to go and what to do. So you just go basically into Cyclone, and then as you come down this way, there's an area called student-owned devices. You select your school. So we'll find your school right at the top. Sorry, I'm thinking, select. And then you enter in the password, which is really difficult. It's Albany Junior High School 2014. Hit submit. In there at the front, there's just something for you to read, and it's just basically a little bit about the journey, a little bit about what's in there. And then the school has chosen 2 options for you. One is a 14-inch, which is that size. Now that is a higher spec, it's got a bigger hard drive, the process is a little bit different. That's if you want to go for that size, or the one that we are recommending to begin with is this little one. And it's a bundle that we're really proud to be able to offer to schools, and HP have really come to the party around the quality of this, how it works. It's really a beautiful little device to use. So, I mean, as I said, we've got them all here. What you do is, let's just say you decide, okay, I'm going to choose the, oops, hang on, you've got a different mouse pad than mine, we'll go that way. So inside there, you can just have a nice little read about what is inside this device you're looking at. It's also got what comes with it. It's got the terms and conditions around it. It says there you have a 3-year insurance. There is a $50 excess. And the reason we've passed with the insurance is because most people at home now, you've pushed up your excess to keep your insurance price down. So most people sit around $200, some even sit around $500 excess. So this way it's $50. And it's if your child does break it, or if something happens and it's stolen, at least this way for $50 you get a brand new one in return. The rest of it here, and then at the bottom there is just a few little optional extras. On the table there are some of the HP headphones, and they're really, really good if you are working in class, listening to a YouTube, or if you need to Skype. It's a very clear, that's all you hear is yourself. They're quite a nice thing. They're not something you have to buy. They're what we just simply call an optional extra if you are interested in purchasing it. So basically, the way you can do then is you would go through, choose what you want, you go to the cart. If you want to pay directly, you can pay via internet banking. The second way you can do that is to pay via credit card. But of course, there is a credit card fee, which is the same as anywhere you use a credit card. The third way is leasing. Now, that's an option that you might want to look at. Currently, we work with a company called Gilrose, and it's your usual enterprise sort of pricing. So it's not an option that you take on lightheartedly. But we've now just, in the next week, we'll be adding into that Q card. So we know that quite a few families have Q card. If you have this card, you can then buy this device and you get 3 months interest free. So for some people, that might just give them enough time to be able to pay this thing off. So they're the kind of options that we have worked with the school around, and the whole thing has been based around what's going to work best for Albany Junior, not just this is your device, go use it yourself. So we are over there in the corner, and you can come over and have a play on them. Ask us any questions you've got around that, and that's about it. Okay?
Are there any questions for Mary? No?
Yes, I've got one question. Can we just buy this notebook from a shop, from a IP shop?
Yes, you can. If you buy a Chromebook from a shop though, you must go onto the portal and you must buy the configuration package setup. So that has all the configuration. It still has to come to the school. You give it to us and it still has to be completed. It has to do the Chrome management, and you still have to have all that on it for it to do.
When do we give it? On 15th of December?
So say you went out and bought a Chromebook on the 8th of January. I would like you to be able to bring it into the school and have it here on the 8th, and then at the end of that day, however many there are, we will take you back and we will do the 4 and 5. That's why we're group of devices. Okay.
So just to point out, in terms of the antibiotics, what you guys are getting is not just the Chromebook. Because essentially the Chromebook is off the phone just was $450. That's not you're getting extended examining, you're getting warranty for a year, you're getting a bag, and you're getting the bag. All that is actually done in the now, I look for it, and I don't want to run and that bundle that.
And that's the sort of idea about, particularly around for the hard case, because with a Chromebook, it's small, so it can go in the bag, but also it can get chucked in the bag, it goes on the ground, somebody comes and picks the bag. The case that we have got for it is a $70 case that we've put in amongst it. So by the time you add insurance, the case, the chrome management, the 3-year warranty, you add all of those up on top of the chrome, it is a very good deal. And the idea behind it is that we want to get these devices in schools. Every school is looking at a one-to-one, and I mean, I spend a lot of educators overseas. We look at what's happening in America, what's happening in Australia, we look at how we can get here, and this is an opportunity to be able to put more of these devices in front of the children.
So can I just clarify, so it's not, so it's about price of 570, that's with the case and the portal and the insurance, and the 570.
Including the budget, of course.
Sorry?
Including the budget, the one objective, the budget is split.
Yes, and then 570 is, yeah, and the 570 is the Chromebook, 3-year warranty, 3 years insurance, the case, Chrome management, and configuration and setup. So it's not a day at all.
It is the warranty that's a real big catch. If you're a parent, the last thing you want to have to deal with is take that device and get it fixed, because the turnaround, it's a long time. I'm seeing this all the time. You've got a 3 to 5 day turnaround and the school deals with it, it's out of your hands. I think that alone, that's what Chin was talking about with the warranty, that's a pretty big deal. And likes of the HPs as well, very rarely, absolutely, Katie, totally agree. Yeah. Cool. And that concludes the event. Thank you so much for coming, even though the numbers, hey, look, you're all wonderful people, and I do appreciate it. But we are going to give away the full Chromebook package. So I hope you can write on that. And everyone here will accept the
Can I just pop in now? Obviously, we've got suppliers and distributors here. It's actually not, I just want to defend the ministry, which is very rare for me, but the ministry didn't smack him on the hands, it was me, because the ministry supports and really wants us to become one of the leading countries in terms of ICT use in education. This young man's got this position because I see him as being able to push beyond what the ministry expect, which is what we want at our school for everything. But it is important to say that our school has what you might call an invitational ideology, which means that we invite you to be part of what we're trying to recommend, if you know what I mean. It is your choice. You can go to Harvey Norman, you could buy a Toshiba. Would it be what we recommend? Guys, sit down. It's a gadget, I want one too. So the naughty boys in the classroom. No, but I'll carry on talking while the naughty boys carry on filling that in. I've run a classroom myself. No, but it is, you know, you have the right, obviously, to go to, like I say, Harvey Norman. We also have a distributor called New Era who go through Harvey Norman. They'll sell you a Toshiba. Do you get the hard case? No. Is it at the recommended standard that we've got, that we want to work with to drive this forward? No. Does it come with the management console? No. Does it come with the hard case? No. Will you get a warranty? No. You have the choice. But it's like I keep saying to my teachers, it's optional, but it is inevitable that you're going to come to the right decision. We recommend this because of the bundle. You can make your own choice. That's why we've got today for you to look at. Can we please, Brandon's worked really hard. I wish he'd had 300 people on YouTube. That just about make it right. We'll have to check the numbers. But he's worked really hard to get this together, and he's really put himself out for at least the last term and a half trying to get this in motion. And I'd really like to publicly affirm my excellent decision to make this decision for Brandon to take up the appointment as head of digital learning. This school's going places in this realm, and I'd just like to give him a clap. Thank you very much.
Let's give away a Chromebook. Yeah. Okay. All right.
The first one is go for the earphone. Medium. Green.